Brackets show up everywhere in algebra. And that tells us something really important, that bracket is an important concept we need to master. In this video, we are going to be looking at an interesting topic called single bracket expansion. We are going to run the topic from the basics to the more difficult ones and see exactly the right way, the right method to solve questions on this. Join me as we start. Now, to start with, we have to understand what we mean by bracket expansion. All right, so we have a bracket, say 3 into bracket x plus 2. What does this actually mean? What it means is that you're going to multiply all the values inside that bracket with 3. So take, for instance, we have 3 into x plus 2. So what we are saying is we are going to use 3 to multiply x and use 3 to multiply 2. Let's take a look at an example. So we have this example. Right here, you notice that we are multiplying with positive terms. So, and that's why this example is centered on positive terms. So we have the first example. We have 3 into bracket x plus 2. So like I mentioned, what you want to do is use 3 to multiply each of the value in the bracket. So I'm going to do something like this. 3 multiplied by x, add, which is the symbol we have here, 3 multiplied by 2. So by the time we do 3 multiplied by x, that will give us 3x. Add, by the time we do 3 multiplied by 2, we get 6. Hence, the result to this expansion is 3x plus 6. Let us take another example. We have 5 into bracket x plus 4. So what do? We are using the same idea. We say 5 multiplied by x, add 5 multiplied by 4. 5 multiplied by x will give us 5x. Add 5 multiplied by 4 will give us 20. Hence, the result to this expansion is 5x plus 20. Now, take a third example in order to buttress what we are trying to say. So we have 6 into bracket 2x plus 1. We are doing the same thing. 6 multiplied by 2x, add 6 multiplied by 1. So 6 multiplied by 2x will give us what? That will be 12x. Because 6 times 2 is 12. Then multiplied by x, that gives 12x. Then 6 times 1 gives 6. Hence, the result to that expansion is 12x plus 6. I hope you understood what we've done here. Now let's take some work to do. So I want you to try out this expansion. And I'm going to wait for a couple of seconds rather. And let's see if you have your answer. Let's see. So I'm going to be counting 1 to 10. For the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so let's take a look at it together. So we have 2 into bracket 3x, add 5. So what do? We are using the same idea. 2 multiplied by 3x, add 2 multiplied by 5. So 2 multiplied by 3x is going to give us 6x. And 2 multiplied by 5 is going to give us 10. All right, so let's do the same thing for the second work to do. This is going to give us 5 multiplied by x, add 5 multiplied by 4. So 5 multiplied by x is going to give us 5x. And 5 multiplied by 4 is going to give us what? 20. And that is how we do that. I hope you got the solution to this. All right, now we've been able to establish the fact that we now understand the positive bracket expansion. Now, what if we are dealing with negative numbers? What if we have a negative term inside our bracket, or we are multiplying by a negative term? So let's take a look at that. So we'll take a look at that in our next example. So here we are. We are multiplying with negative terms. In short, we are dealing with terms that are negative, and we are going to look at these three examples, and I'll give you a tryout to see if you actually understand what we are going to be discussing. All right, so we are using the same idea as we are multiplying when we are dealing with positive, only that we need to be extra careful when we are doing our sign multiplication. So I'm going to give you some set of rules that you need to understand. Very simple rules. So take, for instance, when you're multiplying two signs that are the same, let's say you're multiplying plus and plus, what you get is a positive. When you multiply two signs that are the same, you get a positive. So minus times minus, that gives you a positive also. Two signs that are the same, when you multiply them, we always give you positive. But when you multiply two signs that are different, what you get is negative. So minus times plus is negative, and plus times minus is also negative. This is very important, as it will be of great help when we are trying to expand our bracket with negative terms involved. So now let's take the first one. The first one is very simple and straightforward. We have 3 into bracket x minus 4. So how do we do this? We are using the same idea as I mentioned earlier. So this will be 3 multiplied by x minus 3 multiplied by 4. So 3 multiplied by x minus 3 multiplied by 4. So what is 3 multiplied by x? That gives us 3x. And 3 multiplied by 4, that gives 12. Hence, the result for that expansion will be 3x minus 12. All right, so let's take a look at the second example. So we have minus 2 into bracket x add 5. So how do we do it? We are using the same idea. So we have minus 2 multiplied by x. You may want to put this inside a bracket and add, then you take the minus 2, you put inside a bracket, minus 2 multiplied by 5. So the essence of using a bracket is so that you don't get confused with your sign. So if you do minus 2 times x, that's going to give us minus 2x. Now, you have to be very, very careful. This is plus. Minus 2 times 5 will give you minus 10. Now, if you do plus multiplied by minus, that is going to give you what? Minus, because the signs are different. And that means one thing. That means something. That means your answer now will be what? That will be minus 2x minus, because you are multiplying plus and minus, minus 2x minus 10. And that is your answer to that. So let's take a look at the third example. That gives minus 4 times x. Like I said, you can put this inside a bracket so that it's easy for you to work out. Then minus, this minus, then minus 4 times 3. So minus 4 times x is going to give us minus 4x. And this is minus 4 times 3 is giving us minus 12. So by the time we multiply minus and minus together, what are we going to get? They have a positive. And that means that our result for this will be minus 4x add 12. So that will be minus 4x add 12. I hope you really understood this aspect of the teaching. And now I'll give you something to try out. So let's give you something interesting to try out. Yeah. Yippee. So we have this. I want you to try this out in the next 10 seconds and you tell me your answer. right? So you just use the same idea, the same method. Try to use your brackets to make things easy for you, right? So we have about 5 more seconds. And tada, we should have our answer by now. All right. So if we have, say, -3 multiplied by x, what does that give us? So we do -3 multiplied by x minus this minus, then -3 times 2. So -3 multiplied by x gives -3x minus -3 times 2 gives -6. So by the time we do minus times minus, we're going to get a positive. So this gives us -3x add 6. -3x add 6. Right. So if we do the next one, the one directly on that, we have 5 into bracket 3x minus 4. So we are using 5 to expand every term in that bracket. So that gives 5 times 3x minus 5 times 4. So what is 5 times 3x? That will give us 15x minus 5 times 4 will give us what? 20. Ta-da! And that is our answer. I hope you were able to get this. If you were not, please go ahead, revisit the examples, and attempt this again. And I'm very sure you're going to get it this time. All right. So we want to move to a different section, right, of this topic. Now, this section has to deal with expanding brackets now involving a little bit of indices. So we are going to be applying our knowledge of indices here. All right, so here we have this right now. So yeah. So let's take, for instance, we have expand x into x plus 2. So how do we do this? Now we do it the normal way we do our expansion. So we are doing x multiplied by x plus x multiplied by 2. So if you have x times x, that's going to give us x squared. Why? Because by the law of indices, x simply means x raised to power 1. So if you have x raised to power 1 times x raised to power 1, all you have to do, since this is a multiplication and they have the same base, what you just do is you add this together and that gives you 2. So this will be x to the power of 2 or x squared plus 2x, because x times 2 is 2x, and we have that. So the same idea goes to the second example, just the same notion. Please don't forget, y ordinarily is the same thing as y raised to power 1. So if we do 3y times y squared, this should be 3y times y squared, add 3y times 4. So what this is going to give me is 3, then y to the power of 3, because this is now 1, and then 1 add 2 will give me 3. So plus 3y times 4 is going to give me a 12. So my answer, a 12y, 3y times 4, that gives me 12y, sorry. So my answer for this expansion then is 3y to the power of 3 plus 12y. All right, so let's look at the last example together on this. So we have xy into bracket x plus y. So we do xy times x plus xy times y. So now, since we have xy times x, we are going to be doing the one with x first. So we do x multiplied by x, right? This is x raised to power 1, x raised to power 1. Of course, by what we explained earlier, that becomes x squared, and you just put your y, because you are multiplying, of course. And then we have, what do we have? Plus, then you do the y here. So the x is standing alone, since we don't have any term that we are working on with it. Then y times y gives y squared, because this is 1 by the power, and we add that together. So the result is x squared y plus xy squared. So for you to be able to do this effectively, you have to understand the basic concept of indices, and that is the topic that we treated in one of our videos. I'm going to be dropping a link to the videos in the description part. All right, so we are done with this part, and we want to move to the next part, which involves expansion and then simplification. So sometimes we might have to expand more than one bracket and then simplify. Sometimes we might have to expand a bracket and then simplify with a term. So how exactly do we approach questions that look like that? How do we approach questions that look like that? So we are going to be looking at that shortly. So let's take this example. We have 3 into bracket x plus 2 add 4x. This is very, very straightforward. We are just doing our regular thing. So we are doing our regular thing. So what do? We'll do 3 multiplied by x. So I'm just going to be simplifying things to make our work easy. So we do 3 multiplied by x, which gives us 3x, right? Add, then 3 multiplied by 2, which gives us 6. Then I'm adding 4x to this. So what you want to do is group the terms together. So I kind of move this plus 4x closer to where 3x is. The sign doesn't change. Please, that is important. So this becomes 3x plus 4x plus 6. Notice that the sign didn't change. So if I do 3x plus 4x, that gives me 7x, and then I have plus 6. So the result for that expansion is 7x plus 6. Right. So let's look at the second example. We are using the same idea, but I want you to concentrate so that you understand how to play this out perfectly. So we are doing 2 times x, which gives us 2x plus 2 times 3, which gives us 6. Then you come to where you have positive 3. Please take note. You see, I'm taking the 3 with a sign in front of it. So plus, all right, my plus first, then 3 times x, that gives me 3x. I'm writing this plus first because I know that plus 3 times x will give me plus 3x. Now, for the second part, you have to be very, very careful. So you do your sign first. Plus times minus is a minus. Then 3 times 1 is 3. I'm going to take that again. Plus times minus is a minus, and 3 times 1 will give us 3. Now, what you want to do now is group them together, and then you simplify. So we have something like 2x plus 3x plus 6 minus 3. And at the end of the day, that gives us 2x plus 3x is 5x. Then plus 6 minus 3 gives us plus 3. You are having 6, you hold 3. By the time you pay the 3, you're going to be having 3. So that is why we have a plus 3. Right. So let's take a look at the last example. So we are using the same idea. What is 5 times 2x? That gives us 10x. Then what is 5 times minus 1? That gives us minus 5. Then you come here, minus 3 times x gives me minus 3x. And now you have to be very careful, like I mentioned. Minus times plus now gives us what? A minus. And 3 times 2, that gives a 6. So we group them together, right? Don't forget the sign doesn't change when you are grouping. So this becomes 10x minus 3x minus 5 minus 6. So 10x minus 3x is 7x, and minus 5 minus 6 is minus 11. And further, we are done expanding and simplifying the expression that we have. All right. So before we end this video, I would like to do a quick recap on some of the important concepts we need to bear in mind. Some of the important concepts we need to bear in mind when we are solving single bracket expansion. When we are solving single bracket expansion, the important things we need to bear in mind in order to avoid some mistakes, right? So this is the point I'll talk about common mistakes that students make and how you can easily deal with them, right? So the first thing in the recap is this: multiply outside term by every time inside. So take, for instance, you have 3 into x minus 2. It will be wrong to say this is 3 times x, 3x, and then you put minus 2. This is entirely wrong, right? The idea is to use every number, right? The number outside to multiply every number inside the bracket. You use it to multiply every number inside the bracket. Now, the second one is you have to be very careful of your sign. Like I mentioned, when you are multiplying two signs that are the same, you get a positive. When you multiply two signs that are different, you get a negative, right? And that is exactly what this fourth point is also buttressing, right? So to the third one, expand first, then collect like terms. Very, very important, right? You don't collect terms before you expand, right? So you expand your bracket first. In a case where you have two or more brackets, and then you simplify. You collect the terms, right? Which I called grouping. You group them together, and then you do what? You simplify to the last bits of that. So that is just a quick recap of what we have learned. I hope you've learned something wonderful in class today, and I hope to see you in our next video titled double bracket expansion. If you love this video, I'd love you to give us a like, I'd love you to subscribe, and I'd like you to share this and watch out for our next content. I'll drop some links where you can get downloadable materials to practice on some of these concepts, on this particular concept that we learned today. You'll find it somewhere in the description part of the video. I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.